It took me a long time to realize that the melody is what determines the vibe, and that the melody is mostly determined by the chord progression. Now, I know there's like that 0.00001% minority that disagrees with this, but I'm talking to real musicians who want to make real progress right now. So pipe down, Stan. But anywho, that doesn't really matter because I'm not discussing theory in this video for two reasons. One, I already have multiple guides about that. I mean, how long do you really want this video to be? And two, you can just use some MIDI from my free Horcrux multi-kit that I made for you, which you can find linked in the description below. The ones with the exclamation mark next to them are based around R&B chord progressions that you can use to make smooth melodies like Gunna's new drop, Him All Along, which was produced by Turbo. And that's the key, because Turbo wins the entire battle at the beginning with chord structure. And for that guy that's gonna be like, well, maybe Young Blue made the melody and all Turbo did was the basic trap drums. Brother, to be honest, you could think Gunna made the melody for all I care, because it's not gonna change the fact that it's built around a chord progression, and that's what gives it its specific character. That's kind of like what I'm trying to nail home. I know people in social media like to belabor points that are insignificant. And if you want to capture a more melodically emotional vibe like Gunna, then try using 3 to 5 chords. Let's break down the chord structure of this one melody that I've been working on. Okay, so first let me play this chord progression that ended up being the foundation for the melody of this track. And it's pretty fire. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not explaining the theory behind it. The one thing I can tell you is that I've learned a lot of progressions over time, and more importantly, I've learned how to manipulate them to a way that I like, but I'm not so versed in theory that I can explain that to you. There's a lot of dissonance and borrowed chord things happening here that I don't care to research to explain, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to listen to that yap either. What I can tell you that will be useful is that you want to take the bare minimum basics and then practice them until they're second nature. So the key with that is to stop being a proud overthinker and just use the chord progressions as if they're templates for your melodies. So let me just take you through a few beginner chord progressions for smooth vibes, and then you can use those to start building your own melodies, which is basically how I came up with this one. Oh, you can also just copy this one too if you want. Go ahead and take a screenshot of that. So one that I really like to do is basically where you build that Travis Scott chord progression. And then you just kind of like flip it. You basically just reverse it. And now you have an R&B progression. And then you can add sevenths. So if you want to add a seventh to a major chord, you literally just go 3 spaces up from the top note of the fundamentally built major chord. So basically go up from the 5th. And then if it's a minor chord, then you go up 2 spaces from the 5th. Just like super smooth, and you can literally just repeat that. Okay, so for this one, we're gonna open up centerfold to grab some scale highlighters. And again, you do not actually need centerfold to do this. You could literally just copy this. Music theory is the same no matter what. We're gonna need the 4 chord, we're gonna need the 5 chord, and then we're gonna need the 3 chord. So it goes 4, 5, 3. So we can get rid of everything I do not need, which is 1, 2, 6, 7. And then we'll move the 3 to the end like this. Get rid of these scale highlighters. And then we'll just like space out the chord progression like that, maybe. That hoe kinda hard. And I build most of my R&B progressions off of this actually. Like I'm pretty sure the one that I ended up using for this melody was based at least a little bit on this. So go ahead and copy that and use this as your template too. You can even voice some of the chords. Like I could voice these up. Could undo that and voice these down instead. Then you could get into turning these into borrowed chords by changing the root notes down here with the left hand. You see what I'm doing right now? Like getting into changing this progression, I'm adding stuff and now it's starting to change. That's basically what I do with these very basic chord progressions as templates, and I'm glad I was able to catch that. Ooh, that whole hard, that might be it right there. And then we just like randomize that, strum it a little bit. So you see what I'm saying? Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down. Half the battle at least is won when you lock down a good smooth chord progression from the beginning.